This session is called Expanding the FEMPIRE. And a FEMPIRE must grow and protect its place in history. Growth is not random. It's built through purpose, through connection, and through consistent effort. Expanding your reach takes work, showing up, seeking out new perspectives, building relationships beyond your immediate circle. And progress can be measured when your network can open doors for you and when your reputation leads others to seek you out for connection, opportunities, and collaboration. And we have our first chat prompt, and Kelly is already on it. When is the last time you took a close look at who's in your network? And while everybody's thinking about that, I would like to introduce Sandy Hubbard. She is a CSM, excuse me. You have the letters, you've earned them. You are print industry growth strategist and marketing advisor. You are on the Girls Who Print Board of Advisors for America. You have been around, you were one of the first people I met in the Printerverse before it even had a name, in 2009 or 10. It was right when I started. And you have been the official hostess of the Girls Who Print event chat for so many years, including having to wake up sometimes at 5 o'clock in the morning. So thank you so much for your dedication to everything. Can you share a little bit more about yourself and how collaboration has influenced your own professional growth?
Absolutely. Well, professionally, I'm a consultant and I work with owner-led companies, usually that are really in a short period of growth. So I help them achieve that. And I grew up in a print family, very empowering print family, well connected. And I think at a young age, I learned that having a strong network, volunteering and collaborating would be a great way to not only open doors, but as people have said earlier today, you have to have that feeling, that mindset that anything's possible and that you are in control of your destiny. And so building that foundation for yourself, collaboration and all those things builds that for you. So you really authentically do feel empowered to go out and get what you want.
As we have been doing all day, we have divided up all the sessions into things that fall into the build, own, and rule section. So if we look at expanding your reach, your FEMPIRE, the first thing is to expand your reach. I mean, you need the land to have a FEMPIRE. So the way I'm defining it is reach. Reach is the strength of your professional network. It is the breadth of your connections across the spaces that you want to learn from, that you want to contribute to, that you want to do business within. And networking expands that reach by creating genuine relationships that build trust, visibility, and shared value over time. And those relationships can lead to collaboration. I like to call them Printerverse partnerships. We have made 1 million of them over the years where people have come to our events and they're doing business in the chat. They post in the LinkedIn groups, in the print chat group, and they meet each other and they are able to expand from there, from a community. So once those relationships are established, how can people keep them active and mutually beneficial versus just transactional? I need somebody now is what I consider transactional if the foundation is not there.
Right. Well, I think that's something that we've heard for a long time, which is build your network before you need it. But the word need, it does sound so transactional. I would say serve and strengthen your network as you go. I think, we're busy and it can be very challenging, just the building part. But you have to remember when you're building, a lot of that building are weak connections. You're creating this weak bridge, but you really have to go back and forth across that bridge regularly to strengthen it. So attending events like this where we participate in the chat and we see our friends, our other girls who print, and we say, oh yeah, that person. So we're building awareness. We serve together on committees or do other work where we're present with each other. That's super helpful. And then again, reaching out, asking, how can I help? What's new? How's your world going today? And I've written about this on your platform, which is, just getting it into your schedule that you're going to circle around and especially keep in touch with the people that you really, really like. People are like, oh, this person's going to fall out of my life. Is it really worth it to build a relationship with them? But Deborah and I know, it's been almost 15 years since Print Chat started, and we are such good friends with all those people. Definitely all the people we've met and served in Deborah's Printiverse, all the members of Girls Who Print. So it's not like people in high school, you see them at the reunion and then you kind of forget about them. This is building strong connections, not only so that you can ask your network for something, but so that you can be available to help others.
How can people expand their reach in a way that comes across as intentional and not as transactional, or worse, you look like somebody I want to network? There's a lot of AI prompts in those invitations now, and I'm sure you would suggest stop doing that. Right.
Well, I think one of the easiest ways to not be that person is to it's a little bit harder when you're dealing with a bot or AI, but let's say it's just a real person who just doesn't have a clue. I actually do engage with them, and I'm just like, hey, let's get to know each other first, or, try to be a role model and show them how it can be done better. And obviously, some people are just going to do what they do, and other people have been trained to just take before they give or never give. But I have to say, both, well, really on all the social platforms and Slack and Discord that I participate in, the cream rises. And so you just say, I'm always going to give a person the benefit of the doubt and try and be a good role model. And if it doesn't work, that's fine. That's just statistics for you. But, we've talked today about building intentional networks. And so when you connect with friends of good people, with colleagues of good people, the chances they're going to be good, it goes up. When you participate in really excellent professional groups, the chances are you're going to be able to make a high quality connection. Even in the Slack groups that I belong to, you see who shows up every day and gives good advice and has a good sense of humor. And you go, okay, these are the people I want in my network. I don't really jettison people unless they're terrible, but let's just say we want to focus on, building high quality connections, keeping those connections strong, being useful and valuable, serving before we ask for favors. And the reality is sometimes stuff happens and you have to ask before you've got a strong connection with someone. But just going forward with, good purpose and feeling like I'm doing this the right way makes it not icky if you do have to ask without the best foundation.
Yeah. I refer to that as give, 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 give a little more, then give, then you can ask.
Yeah.
And that ask can be connect with me. That ask could be like join my mailing list. That ask could be, hey, you might be interested in this podcast. But you know what I'm saying? Like, as far as I'm concerned, you have to work up. You have to work up to that by people finding your contributions to the community, to the network, valuable enough that if you do reach out to connect with them, it's already preceded. Your intentions have already been established in some way. Yeah. So, Kel, we have a chat prompt now. One word. What makes a professional connection meaningful to you? Reach isn't about scale, it's about substance. We always talk about quality over quantity. The right connections strengthen your FEMPIRE's foundation, and they can open the doors that grow your influence naturally. So allies are architects of expansion, and that is the next part of this section. The own it. You have to figure out your allies, and they challenge you, which has been a big topic today. They support you. They help you amplify your message, especially on social media. Alignment ensures that every connection strengthens the structure instead of pulling it apart. So, how do you recognize people whose skills, experience, and connections complement your own to help you move your FEMPIRE forward?
Okay, this is actually a fairly big strategic question. I'm going to break it down into a couple parts for you. One is we look at those aspirational people. We all have people either in our industry or elsewhere that we admire, and we're like, oh, I have to connect with them either because they can help me or I admire them so much. And that's fine. I mean, definitely do that. But on a more granular scale, there are people in the industry, not just who can help you, but that will be good for you. Like you were saying, people maybe who push back on your assumptions and help you grow as a person. People who maybe from the outside will help your career that you wouldn't think of automatically. And certainly there have been people in the printiverse and girls who print where you just go, wow, I can't believe that that person is supporting this mission, and because you made an assumption. So, I always say, get up paper and pencil, look at where you want to be, what's missing in either like the essential me, I wouldn't say missing, but what could I build, or what do I need to complement with some help from the outside? And so if you're shy, how having a friend like Deborah is helpful because she'll reach out on your behalf, or if you are a person who likes to change careers a lot or change job roles a lot, what kind of people will you need in your world to make that more successful? So again, just being super analytical about, what's a non-obvious person or entity that you can bring into your world that's helpful for you, but that you can authentically serve and help and build a good relationship with. I mean, there are certain entities and people that are easier to build relationships with. So again, like, let's make it easy first and see how it goes and see how we grow as people and how that moves us forward. But everything we've talked about today about the intentionality, the empowering components. I mean, you can't just be random and say, all right, this will all work out, or you'll end up literally at my age, like saying, WTF. You have to steer the boat from the other end, and obviously you're going to course correct as you go. But there are just, the older you get, the more you realize I'm not that much different than the person I was when I was in third grade. So if you're finding insight about yourself at any age, I mean, that's totally valid and will probably stay with you and is a point for growth and progression, but it's the essential you. So incorporate that into your planning.
When is the right time? When is the right time to ask your network for help or for an introduction?
Well, I think we've covered that. I mean, if possible, is to be a person of value and service first. But, finding the right group to ask makes a huge difference. Like I said, I belong to a lot of just super excellent Slack groups, Discord groups of software development professionals, certainly the Girls Who Print LinkedIn group. And everyone assumes the best of each other. So if you need help, don't wait. I mean, do the best you can and give in, after the fact if possible. But sometimes you just need help, and I would just say, be gracious about it. Be humble about it. Thank people, for goodness sake. How many times do we see people drive through, they dump a question into every single LinkedIn group, and then they're gone, and they never acknowledge that you gave them any help. So, do that, and certainly connect with people who offer help and thank them closely. And that's a great way to build a new connection for the people that offer suggestions. So yeah, be cool and professional about it.
I would also just add that understand who you're asking and ask them the way that they'll hear your question.
That's a great
If
point.
it's just, hi, I get this a lot. Hi, I see you're connected to this person. Can you introduce me? And I'm like, for what? Like, what do you want? Like, if you like, and often it's like a printer who wants to meet somebody in an advertising agency.
Oh
I'm like,
yeah.
yeah, no, not
No, you have to
like, what do
you
you,
have to prove yourself worthy, I think, to be able to ask those kind of questions for sure. Just proving yourself worthy, and a lot of that is, if you are in a community, I know the tendency is for people to be lurkers, or they just read things and they don't participate, but your participation is part of that trust building process, so that if you do have to ask a question, number one, people are aware of you. Number two, if you're a good citizen, you're more trustworthy and they're more willing to go out on a limb. And certainly, if you only have a weak connection, like we talked about, you can't ask for the kind of favors that people would be risking too much to grant to you. So an introduction is a big favor, and that comes with strong connections.
a lot, there have been times when people I do not know at all send me, in those in messages because we're not connected. And they do want to ask me for something, but it's the way that they ask me that I want to help them. And usually what works on me is, I'm just going to loosely describe the situation. These aren't the exact words, but I've been following you for a while. I listen to your podcast. I really have been in the Girls Who Print group. I'm in your print production professionals group. I appreciate your newsletter, whatever it is, just so I'm like, okay, here's somebody who has actually invested in me. And
Right.
they've invested their time, which is the most precious commodity they have. When somebody authentically comes and then says, I'm wondering if you have the time, could you? And I'm telling you, I answer those people in 2 seconds because I can authentically feel that they're just stuck, and maybe they've tried everything they could and now they're doing a Hail Mary, and I am that person. So I think that sometimes there is grace in how you ask people for help, even if you don't know them. For God's sakes, do a little research about them. Would you agree with
I
that?
agree. I'm always flattered when people mention that they've read something I've written and quote a little bit of it. And again, like you say, even the fact that they took 20 seconds to go do that is more than a bot's going to do,
Yeah.
probably. And I'm probably more willing to give time to a young person or a person who maybe doesn't have a lot of resources. I've built a lot of relationships with people in countries that have fewer role models maybe to reach out to. And so once we have a little conversation, I'm like, okay, I can see why they reached out to me. Yeah, I think, if you're that person having to do that uncomfortable task of reaching out to ask in that situation, personalize it, you know,
And
Uh,
literally tell you
so,
what the problem is, or
yeah,
what is it that you want to understand, or why is it that you want to connect with somebody? Because
yeah,
I think there's also in has to be a protection of the network that you've built. I mean,
yeah,
I don't want to,
exactly.
I'm certainly never going to send a printer to an advertising agency
Right,
production person. It's never going to happen. But what I will do is say, I will reach out to them. I will share the link of your company. I will share your contact information. And if they want to reach out to you, that is their choice. But I am not staying out of it. I'm staying out of it. Do not follow up with me and ask me if why haven't they contacted you? It has
right.
to be on their terms. So we have our last prompt is one word. Where do you want your influence to grow next? So, Sandy, expansion happens when you focus on the connections that matter most and use them with intention. When you activate your network, you strategically share expertise freely and take deliberate action. Your FEMPIRE gains both strength and momentum. And one of the reasons that I wanted you to participate in this session is because I don't think anybody networks better than you. I'm an accidental networker. At this point, people just want to connect with me because, this face is in a lot of places. But you once told a story at one of our events about why your symbol is a sunflower and how a sunflower, why don't you explain it? I don't want to put words in your mouth.
Well, I think the part that you liked was that sunflowers sterilize the soil around them and they
They
can
kill everybody
kill
else.
everybody else. So that's great competitively. But, that story came up during the pandemic. Everybody was running around like chickens with their heads cut off. And I just was saying, sometimes standing still and letting the right people find you is a strategy. And especially in the case of the sunflower, they grow above everyone else. So visibility is a strategy. And um, sometimes that doesn't always work. I mean, but again, where are people likely to see you? I think these days in this moment, and it changes all the time, I have great success in Slack groups with my colleagues, Discord groups, volunteering in real life with people, participating in events like this. Visibility is really the first step. And when you look at even just marketing or anything like that, when you're positioning a company and they're invisible, I can't do anything for you. We have to build the structure that not only when you're visible, you look like someone that people would want to engage with. And so there's a lot to creating that positive visibility, but that really is the first step. Things are so busy right now. It's not like being on LinkedIn back in 2005 or whatever, when you were like, hi, I'm in the printing industry. And all 10 printers of us were like, oh, hi, it's so great that you're here. I mean, you have to be very deliberate about your positioning, and as you're wading out into the sea, you have to make sure that when people are looking at you, you're like, oh, that's a person I would like to get to know better.
Yeah. The other thing about the sunflower is that it follows the sun all day long. So it's always facing the light. It doesn't go to the dark side. It stays in the light, or you could it stays illuminated into what's in front of it. So I just love everything about the
Yeah, I
sunflower
think, and
analogy.
let's
But
let's
it,
let's.
but
I
it,
know we have to.
but especially how it kills, doesn't let anything
Yeah, it
grow
kills
around
stuff.
it.
But
So
let's
it can
just say
have,
that the turning toward the light is part of not only people being aware of us, but us being aware of them. And that's just a huge part of building your network, is know who's out there, know where you want to go, keep an eye out, be engaging. And yeah.
excellent. So we have one more prompt. What will help your FEMPIRE grow next? And Sandy, what would you say to that?
Oh gosh, I say this at every session, but I really believe this. like take a quiet moment, write it down, map it out, and then either take a picture and send it to yourself or get it in some kind of organizer or something so that in 3 months or 6 months, you can track your progress. Did I achieve what I hoped to? Get a mentor or be a mentor. Building the accountability component into this is really important, and it will be one of the main things that helps you succeed.
Yeah, and I haven't mentioned this because I was just going to surprise everybody, but it just came up. So everyone who registered for this webinar is going to get an accountability sheet following this these presentations, and it's really focusing on build, rule, own, and what is your plan going to be? And then the last part of it is who are you going to tell about this, and what is the date that you're going to have some progress going. So everybody's going to receive that, and they're also going to receive a 4-question, 2-second answer it survey about this event, and I'm just going to send it to everybody, so you don't have to do anything to receive it, but please do answer it. And we're going to wrap up today by bringing Kelly back on the camera. And Sandy, you can stay here too, please, because you have been personing the chat all day, as Kelly says. I always say manning the chat, and she's like personing the chat. I want to give a shout out to everybody who's been here all day, and there's many people who have been here all day. I'm actually starting to question whether or not they are employed at this point, even though I know some of them have big jobs. But thank you for being here all day long. Thank you to the gentleman that popped in also. I always say the only way forward is together, and even though we are building our own table, we still need seats at the industry table. And, that is why Girls Who Print is around. So, Kelly, in the wrap up of today, discuss.
I have a lot of notes. I feel like one of the biggest parts was what Christy said about looking for the gaps in what's currently going on in an organization so that you can start to solve those problems and ascend and elevate yourself. I heard a lot about preparation and being ready to meet those moments. And obviously confidence was one of the centralized points. I mean, to me, like, Morgan should have her own show. Like, Morgan, what an amazing story. I hope she writes a book, right? Like, I think that her level of confidence and just how she portrayed everything about her lived experience was incredibly impactful. I wrote down, being the CEO of your career. I'm not sure which person said that. Sandy, maybe that was you. Oh, that was you, Deborah.
But I stole it from somebody else. From
another.
And, even that, it's funny because there was a lot of talk in the chat about, words mattering and how important, like, reframing some certain things are. And that idea of someone said throughout the day that they were going to steal something from you. And I feel like, and again, I don't want to get too in the weeds on this, but like stealing or being inspired by, right? Or
stealing's just
borrowing,
a word.
I know. And there was also something that Charlotte said that was really, really impactful, I think, as far as how people know when they're ready to move is when you start to phone it in, when it starts to feel too easy. Maybe that's an indication that it's time for you to stretch a little bit. Maybe it's time to get uncomfortable again. Was really, really impactful for me.
And can I just want to say something about that. I think that is such an important thing to call out, because there's 2 ways you can look at it. You can look at it like easy street. I know exactly what I'm doing all day long, and everything is fantastic. And I know the people I've worked with, and I've been here for a while, and I'm going to get my 3% raise every year, and whatever it might be. And there are a lot of people that like that sort of, security. Fantastic. And okay, what happens if you lose that client? What happens if you're in that comfort zone? fantastic. But take that as a sign that because you don't have to learn something new on the job, because maybe you don't have to, work on your relationships with your coworkers. Take that time and go to Print University and learn something that your company is not doing. Learn something that you keep hearing about. Like let's just take 3D printing. It's technically not printing, but if they want to call it printing, let's take ownership of that. There are plenty of the manufacturers that have 3D equipment, and it's manageable. Who knows anything about that? Not a lot of people. So I have been doing a presentation for a while where I put a slide up and I talk about holes in the wine list. Like if you look at a wine list, like there's wines that are paired to food, but there is always somebody who's clever enough to come along and say, I want to talk to you just about the 2 wines that could fit amazingly between these 2 that you have on your menu. I'm not trying to replace all the wine that you sell here. I'm not trying to replace your distributors. I'm here to make a suggestion for you. And what happens when you're that person is that you start looking around like, oh, what do I need the other people for? They're not making any suggestions that are good for my business, that are good for my customers. And this person can also give me everything else that the useless people who are complacent with just taking their order every day because it's easy, because it's comfortable. And I'm going to move here because I want someone to challenge my menu, to challenge my chef. I didn't mean to interrupt, but I wanted to get this out today, but there was no place during that session.
And to me, that phrase or the statement that I came up with one of my clients recently is, I am not seeking to disrupt that which is working. I am simply seeking to offer fresh perspectives. To me, is the best possible of overcoming the objection of I'm happy with my current vendor, right? It is that we do not sit in a place of complacency. We do not sit in a place of, we do it this way and this is the way we've always done it, so this is the way we're always going to do it. But it's again, there's a lot of reframing going on here. But I will say this, I very much want to plumb the depths of that chat, because I didn't look at it almost all day because I was so focused on trying to be here in the presence of what I was supposed to be doing. So I bet you we have a year's worth of content and programming and needs in what we see in that chat today. And I wonder if it's going to kind of meet our expectations with the intention that you created around that chat experience. Very, very good stuff. Very engaged people. And I myself am, like you, maybe shocked at how many people stayed all damn day. Like, wow.
Yeah. Sandy?
Well, 2 things stood out for me. I'm sorry, I was peeking at the chat just to see how popular I was.
So popular.
I was just so popular, I know. Thank you, everybody. So the first thing, and I think this is kind of an uncomfortable thing, I was very inspired by Devon's presentation because she talked about how her organization was before and then the impact of helping to transform that company. When you're on the dysfunctional side, and maybe some of us today are, not me, but I mean, we might be in that situation. I mean, it can feel really hopeless, or even if things change, it won't be enough. So I thought it was really important to hear about what had to happen, that it's an uncomfortable discussion, but that the outcome was worth it. And, I have worked in companies like that where years go by and you just think, my gosh, what am I still doing here? Like, this checks a lot of boxes, like Charlotte said, like there's the give and take, and you go, but can I really sanction throwing my support behind a company that at the top is very dysfunctional? So I thought that was a really powerful presentation and would be worth circling around and doing another session like that in the future. And it's not just because it's a male-centric thing. It's just, what happens when you are at a certain stage in your career and you're in a company that should improve, and maybe there's no light yet at the end of the tunnel. And then the second thing is everything that we talked about today for the members of Girls Who Print, for the community of Girls Who Print, should be very inspired by seeing what the Girls Who Print organization is doing. I mean, we, you, all of us are role modeling the very things that we need to be doing in our own careers, how growth is happening, how networks are built, how allies are brought in, how we're stretching ourselves. So, if there's any doubt that this works, just look at how Girls Who Print has grown and expanded and elevated. It's just very inspiring, and it's a playbook that works.
I just want to thank everybody so much for their time and attention that you have given us today, and to leave with this: you are in command of your career. Things don't happen to you. You have to make them happen yourself. With intentional plans, even if you don't know exactly what you want to do, I always say work backwards. So for example, if I want to, in the next 20 years, end up on Fiji, doing my work from a laptop, what do I need to make that happen, and work backwards? And I don't have to decide where I might need to, get enough money for that to happen. But I can start saying, well, what are some ways that I can make money to make that happen? Or maybe I need to learn the stock market, or maybe I need to, get a little better at math, so I'm not spending all my money all the time. But whatever it is, you are in control of that path. You decide what it is, and you can change your mind whenever you want and go in a different direction. It's your FEMPIRE. It's there for you to build. It's there for you to rule, and it's there for you to own. Until next time, thanks for spending Girls Who Print Day with us and joining our 13th annual conference. Until next time, everybody, empower long and prosper.